Hello everybody, it is your boy NCSO7 and welcome to another discussion video. So today I wanted to talk about something that's a little bit more interesting. Now this was originally supposed to go up last week, but I delayed it to this week and well, yeah, as the Switch was turning 5 years old and I was like, I'll push this video back a little bit. But today I'm going to be talking about something a little interesting. Now you might be wondering what the new Nintendo console war is. Now I'm sure you guys are aware of console wars. It's been a thing for almost as long as gaming's been a thing. Obviously we've known the console wars between the companies, the Genesis versus the SNES back in like the 90s, and then like Sony versus Nintendo, and then like Nintendo versus Sony versus Microsoft. Like Switch, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, or Xbox awful name as I call it. Like, we're all familiar with those. We're all familiar with that. But there's another console war that I've been starting to see a little bit more of, or at least saw before I deleted my Twitter account. I'll make a video on that in the future as well. But I've been noticing that this specifically started happening around the time of the 3DS and Wii U eShops being announced to be closing down in 2023. And I will say, it's sad to see these games go. It's sad that it's happening, but I've been also, and while most people seem to be like this, I've also seen a lot of people arguing about how this is bad consumerism and that Nintendo is bad and all that jazz because they're doing this when these people more than likely did not buy any games on these eShops after the Switch released. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk about that. Now, before I get into the video, keep in mind, everything in this video is my opinion, maybe. If you agree with me in the fact that what I say in this video, that's perfectly fine. If you don't agree with what I say in this video, that's perfectly fine too. Don't let my opinion dictate how you should feel. Think for yourself. I mean, you're a human being. But with that said, I think people are being extremely, well, they're taking a lot for granted. Now, I want to just let you guys know, remember when the Wii U was the only thing we had? Remember when the Wii U and the 3DS were the only systems that Nintendo had, like that were the most current systems? There was no Switch. The only thing we even knew about the Switch was two letters being NX. That's all we even knew about it until October of like 2016. Before that, there was really not much hope. And I've been seeing a lot of people saying how the Wii U actually had a lot of great games and like even better games than that of the Switch. And look, the Wii U had some great games like Splatoon. Splatoon was a really fun game. Super Mario 3D World, that was a good game. Smash Brothers 4, Mario Kart 8, Yoshi's Woolly World, Xenoblade X, and like some other games as well. But at the same time, there were a lot of questionable games on the Wii U. Star Fox Zero comes to mind. That game was kind of and Paper Mario Color Splash was an alright game. It wasn't what people wanted at all. And Mario Tennis Ultra Smash was not very good. Kirby and the Rainbow Curse was kind of just existent. While the game looked beautiful, it wasn't really a big game at all. I mean, compare that to Kirby and the Forgotten Land on the Switch. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is something that everybody's wanted, a 3D Kirby game. Whereas Rainbow Curse is a sequel to a DS game that I don't think a lot of people were really wanting. I mean, there were probably some people, but definitely not enough for it to be the only new Kirby game on the Wii U. Good lord. And, of course, Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival. Probably one of the most shameless Nintendo games ever made. I mean, the game was literally made just so they could sell Animal Crossing Amiibo. They released it around the holidays of 2015. It was not a very good time to be a Nintendo fan. And there were a lot of series that didn't get entries on, like, the Wii U as well. Like, seriously, there were no new Metroid games. Granted, there was a Metroid game on the 3DS, but it sucked. Nobody wanted it either. Federation Force, I believe it was. Yeah, it was that one. No, and there was no F-Zero game, no Fire Emblem game, unless you want to count Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which I guess go for it. And I know the game's good, but it's not a Fire Emblem game. Like, it's not really. And the Wii U just didn't have nearly as many games as the Switch does, or at least as many good games, because for as many great games as there were on the Wii U, there were a good amount of games that were kind of just in the B tier or just not really that good. And one of the biggest things that people forget was that 2015 and 2016 were definitely not good years for the Wii U, especially. While the 3DS was doing well for the most part, the Wii U was just doing really not good. Like, seriously, remember 2016 when all we really had looking forward to with the Wii U was Star Fox Zero, which was a game that didn't really look that good and didn't really play that well, and Paper Mario Color Splash, which was a sequel to Sticker Star, the game that everyone hated. Like, I don't know. I feel like people kind of forget about this. I think one of the big reasons why people are saying that now that the Wii U is better is because nowadays I feel like people are having higher expectations, and that is to be fair. I mean, Nintendo has been doing a much better job of making games on the Switch. Yeah, say what you want about Nintendo's other practices and how it is sort of scummy, but at least when it comes to their game making, the Switch is easily better than the Wii U. I mean, you can play the Switch literally anywhere, and it's pretty much on the same power levels that of the Wii U. Oh yeah, and the Switch has more games. I mean, we got a Fire Emblem game on there, we got some actual Pokemon games on there, some interesting ones too, like a new Pokemon Snap, and even an open world Pokemon game with Legends Arceus. We got a new Luigi's Mansion game. And yeah, there were a lot of ports on the Switch of Wii U games like Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, Super Mario 3D World and whatnot, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But even then, though, I feel like a lot of people they look at the ports only and don't really look at a lot of the games that Nintendo made specifically for Switch and kind of just, yeah, I don't know. I mean, granted, the Wii U didn't have a lot of Wii ports, but there were a couple games that were very similar, like Wii Fit U, Wii Party U, Wii Sports Club, which were kind of just, but I don't know. But even so, though, that's pretty much all I want to say regarding on the games part of it. And I didn't really mention the 3DS too much, because honestly, this is more of a war between the Wii U and the Switch. And to be fair, where the Wii U does excel, it does have a lot more charm, I will say. The Wii U does have some charm, and the Switch doesn't really have a lot of it, but I think the Switch is a better video game machine. And honestly, I feel like a lot of people are saying that the Wii U is better simply because of the fact that it's more interesting. I mean, you gotta keep in mind, the Wii U did not sell well. and when the Switch was revealed, I don't know if this is exactly true or not, but Nintendo actually stopped production on Wii U's after the Switch release, but a little beforehand, which is really saying something. The Wii U was definitely one of Nintendo's worst systems in terms of selling wise. And I feel like because of the fact that the system didn't sell well, and that at the time it got a pretty poor reception, now all of a sudden people are starting to be like, oh, this system's actually quite good. It's kind of like the Virtual Boy, where the Virtual Boy sold horribly, and everyone has talked about how the Virtual Boy was such a bad system, but nowadays people are kind of like, it wasn't too bad. I feel like people are seeing the systems as more interesting, and to be fair, that is especially true. I mean, failures like this are a lot more interesting to look at than successes, let's be honest here. But even so, though, I feel like some people kind of use these interesting factors as ways to make it seem like this system is better than this system. I don't know. But I also want to talk about one more thing that is gonna probably piss a lot of people off. And I know this is a very unpopular opinion. I know people are going to argue with me on this, especially in the comments. I'm ready for it. But the Switch Online is better than the Wii U Virtual Console. Now, before you raise the pitchforks at me, know this. I do think the Wii U Virtual Console is better in one aspect, at the very least. And that is, when you get a game on the Virtual Console, it's always on your console. It's not like Switch Online where it's subscription based, but when you pay it, like if you get Super Mario 64 on the Wii U Virtual Console, when you pay it and you download it, it's always on your console. It's not gonna go away, and you don't have to pay like an annual fee or like a monthly fee or anything like that. That is true. I will admit that is one thing. And yes, the Wii U had some more consoles, but even then, I mean, I guess. But even so, The Switch Online is better because, first of all, Switch Online for a year is $20. $20, which isn't too bad, and you get so many NES and SNES games. Like, seriously, you get them all for free. Now, granted, the NES games are questionable. Some of them are questionable. But even then, though, some of the more questionable NES games would still be around, like, $2 or $3 on the Wii U Virtual Console. Like, they'd still be quite pricey, and SNES games on the Wii U were also kind of pricey. Like, Earthbound was added recently, and that game costed like $8 on the Wii U Virtual Console. Like, that's almost half the price for Switch Online. Like, you ultimately get a better deal with getting Switch Online as opposed to getting the NES and SNES games on the Wii U. Like, not only do they have rewind feature, but they feature better emulation, at least for NES games. I will say SNES games on both systems are fairly normal, like they're pretty good, but the NES emulation on Wii U isn't that amazing. The games don't look that good on there, if I'm going to be completely honest. They don't look as good as they should, and I feel like the Switch does a much better job at emulating NES games. And while, yeah, there's a lot of special NES games, like special versions of NES games, which are very lazy, I will not even sugarcoat that. There's still a lot to be seen on, like, the Switch Online, and, like, Switch Online just has more stuff for NES and SNES. Now, there is, of course, N64, which you have to pay an additional $30 for, and the N64 emulation is kind of questionable. Like, it seems to be getting better, but it still seems to retain some issues, specifically with button inputs being kind of delayed. Though I don't know, because I actually never got it. But even then, though, you know how much N64 games were on the Wii U Virtual Console? They were $10 each. If you pay, like, you could pay $30 for the Switch Online expansion pack, and you could get, like, a little over, like, 7 N64 games. Or you could pay $30 on the Wii U for 3 N64 games. Like, just only 3. Only 3 games, and that's it. I don't know. And given the fact that the Switch is, again, portable, you can take it anywhere you want, it honestly just makes it a better option. Now, I know some people will say that they want to own the game. Like, when you get it on, like, Wii U Virtual Console, you own the game. But here's the thing, you don't really own the game at all. I mean, yeah, you own you own the rights, you own the license to run the software, but it's like, it's just a digital file that you're owning. Like, it's not... You don't even really own it. You just own the rights to run the software. That's literally all you have. Like, if you want to own these games, you'd have to get the box and whatnot. Like, you don't own it. You own a license. So, yeah. I know some people will definitely disagree with me on this. I am expecting a lot of people to not agree with me on this. But even so, that's at least how I feel. Well, yes, I do agree that paying a subscription fee is kind of annoying. And that the fact that the Switch doesn't have nearly as many systems, yeah, I get it, but honestly, for NES and SNES games at the very least, it's infinitely better to just get them on Switch Online as opposed to the Wii U Virtual Console. But that's how I feel. And overall, I still really like the Wii U and Switch very much. I love both systems. I love them both a lot too. But here's the thing, is that I think the Wii U was a worse system, but I still think that the Wii U does retain a little more charm. It's a little more interesting than the Switch, with the Switch being a runaway success, but I still like the Switch more. I mean, and I'm not biased here. I grew up on the Wii U. Like, I played the Wii U, like, it was the only system I really played during that generation until, like, I got the Switch, to which case I then got a PlayStation 4 and whatnot. Even when I had an Xbox One, I still played the Wii U. Even in 2016, the worst year for the Wii U. But anyways, that's how I feel. Both systems are really good, but still, I think the Switch is still better than the Wii U. But that's all of my thoughts. Let me know what your thoughts are, and let me know how stupid I am for what I said in this video by liking this video. And if you really dislike my opinion on the Virtual Console versus the Switch Online, you may consider hitting the subscribe button, because I'm sure you're going to like some of my other content. But with that being said, this is NCSO7 signing out. Peace out, everybody, and take care.